Everybody, Rich with Prep U down here in the bunker. Um, the title of this video I really didn't like, but I figured I didn't know a better word. Items to stock now sounds like, okay, yeah, go out and get it and stuff like that. Items to hoard, and the reason I used the term hoard was in a good context, it means hold on to, get a bunch of it, as much as you think you're going to need, and then if you have what you need, get a little bit more. The reason I don't like the hoard, hoarding context is because of, well, you've seen the shows, the hoarder shows, and people that have issues about not letting anything go. I mean, they're keeping, dirty cans of food and, all kinds of stuff. The reason I don't like it is because as a fireman, I fought several fires in hoarders' homes. Uh, One fire was bad enough that because of what happened, I almost lost my life and my crew's life because of issues in a hoarder's home and all the stuff that they had inside the home that collapsed on top of us during the fire due to the weight of the water that we were using. So I kind of like to stay away from hoarder, but so what I want to say is when I say hoard, I mean, like I just said a little bit ago, get as much as you think you need and then get a little bit more and hold on to it. I've got a list here. We're going to go over it and I'm going to kind of explain to you, why. And as you hear some of these things, I think maybe you'll think, yeah, okay, I get that, but you know what, Rich, you could also use it for this or use it for that. Well, let me know. Comment back. Let me know if there's other things that you think that you should have around your house. Let other people know what they should have other than this list. And this list was really made what I have. And sure, I went online and saw some other videos about hoarding this and having that and what you need and stuff like that. And it kind of confirmed my own beliefs of what I have. And I'm sure a lot of this stuff on your, you also have on your list. So let's just get to it and let's go through it. Cardboard. Cardboard, and I mean, if you buy like a TV or if you buy something big and it's got some heavy duty cardboard, it's really important to have it. And I use it for several reasons. I use it for, like, the season's coming to a point where it's springtime. So what are we going to do? All our wrought iron furniture, we will be spray painting. Yes, I have drop cloths from being a painting contractor in previous life. But I put the cardboard down so it's sitting on something so the drop cloth doesn't get on the legs. But here's another reason, for storms. What if you lose a window in the middle of a storm and you don't have anything to put up with it? Obviously, it'd be nice to have, if you have storage area, to have some plywood and, quarter-inch plywood and stuff. You could keep that around if you have storms. But just cardboard, having that around, at least it's gonna keep the rain from coming in. It might get wet, but you're gonna add that to something else that I have on this list. I'll just say it now, plastic sheeting. You've all seen it, you should have plastic sheeting around. It's good for a lot of things. You can use it in place of tarps, especially like indoors. If storm damage has, you can wrap your cardboard, put it in the window, tape it in, and secure it. With another item I'm going to talk about in a second. But you can also cover furniture. You can cover stuff outside with it. Plastic sheeting is really good in place of a tarp for a ground cover. If you are going, hiking or whatever, it's a little bit less weight. If your tent doesn't have a footprint that you bought with the tent, plastic sheeting is great for that. There's a whole bunch of other reasons for that. Zip ties. You cannot have enough zip ties. Along with that, you can't have enough rope or cord or string. It's always good to have all that around. There's a gazillion uses for cord or rope or string. I have everything from kite string all the way up to rappelling rope. I have rope that we use at the firehouse that we used for rappelling, and obviously we used it enough so it had to be decommissioned, and we would just use it for barrier rope or whatever. I have a bunch of that we decommissioned beyond that, and just basically you can use it for clothesline, you can use it for securing stuff together, but any kind of cord or rope. Back to zip ties, all sizes, anywhere from the little ones all the way up to the type the police use for handcuffs. It's also a great thing to have around, and available are the big heavy duty zip ties that you can use for handcuffs. Civil unrest, somebody breaks into your house, you could zip tie them and wait for the police to show up. Storage stuff. Every holiday, it seems like in my house, we never have enough storage containers for all the leftovers that we send back with the kids and other relatives and stuff like that. Probably because the kids and the relatives never give our storage containers back when they're done using them. But having a good supply of storage, be it glass and plastic containers for food and for other items that you want to store, really good to have a bunch of that stuff available and ready. It's great for food prep and storage, obviously, but it's also great for parts and different things that you don't want to have laying all over the place. Who doesn't have jars full of screws and bolts and nuts and picture hangers and wire and all that kind of stuff? Everybody has it. If you've been living in your home long enough, you have a bunch of that stuff. Don't get rid of that. That's something else. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Fishing line and dental floss. Fishing line and dental floss have, again, a whole bunch of uses, well beyond what they're intended for cleaning your teeth and catching fish. I've repaired stuff with fishing line. My wife uses fishing line and craft stuff. Also, the craft wire is really good to have. Talked about that in the video, 5 things you should always carry with you. If you haven't seen that video, check that video out. It's a really good video. And then there's a second one, 5 things plus that you should always carry with you. But dental floss, I've used dental floss in the fire service to get rings off of men and women's hands, especially wedding rings that get smashed on the job or whatever. And I've used the dental floss. It's a really cool way to get a ring off without having to cut the ring and the possibility of cutting the finger. And no one really wants to explain to their wife that they were an idiot and they got their ring caught on their hand and now it's in 1 or 2 pieces. So this will save that. But there's a lot of reasons. Dental floss and fishing line. Don't get the cheap fishing line that the 5, 10, 15 pound, 20 pound, 25, 30, 40 pound test. Something sturdy. And learn how to tie fishing nets because you'll need to know how to do that. Candles are a must. Anywhere from the larger candles, which you got like 3 wicks and everything, to put off, definitely puts off some good heat, to smaller candles, votive, I think that's how you say it, votive candles for light and stuff like that. Matter of fact, on the internet, I saw a really cool thing where they took a larger candle, single wick candle, you can use a 3-wick candle, and they took a clay pot for flowers, and they put down 3 bricks, turned that thing upside down, put the candle so that the top of the candle was just inside so it couldn't get blown out, but there was enough airflow so there was plenty air. And I haven't tried it yet, but they said that the clay pot would warm up and give off more heat. Great idea, something to try. I'm gonna have to try that and let you know how that works. Really good. Here's one that if you don't have these and you're a homeowner, even if you're not a homeowner, you could throw a couple of these in your car or closet, whenever. Tarps of all sizes, absolutely every single size that you can possibly want. Colors matter, I don't know. I prefer camouflage or brown just because it isn't like, here's a tarp, I got a bunch of stuff underneath it, come get it. We put all our summer furniture underneath the tarp up against the side of the house. It keeps the snow off of it and stuff like that. Obviously for your firewood, keep your firewood nice. But tarps can be used for roofing. You know, if you get a hole in your roof, if you want to cover your car, if you want to cover, you know, different things. If you just have to do some work in your garage and you don't have time to put everything back and there's storms coming, you can throw a tarp over it. So, but with that roofing, you are going to want to have furring strips and screws long enough to go through the furring strips, the tarp, and into your roof. Especially if you have damage, you want to keep that tarp down. You don't want it blowing off. You're not going to be able to tie it off, you know, on the gutter, and it's not going to stay there. It's going to flap up and down, and it's not going to be any good. So that's for the roof. For just covering stuff in your yard, you're going to want to get tent stakes. Have a bunch of tent stakes on hand. You know, you don't have to go out and buy anything really expensive. You can probably make your own tent stakes if you want to with a heavier gauge wire, or you could use rebar for all that matter, you know, to make a decent tent stake. Just put it at an extreme angle, you know, and the tarp's not going to blow off. But with that, make sure that your tarps, and I haven't seen any tarps that don't have eyelets, but make sure they have plenty of eyelets, and get heavier, thick ones. Keep them in the plastic until you need them, because it's a lot easier to store a whole bunch of them flat in the bag someplace in the garage, and keeps them in the basement, because tornado season, you could lose everything in your garage, but you'll still have some stuff in the house. Like I said before, nuts, bolts, screws, nails. Call it a hardware jar. I have several hardware jars. I have old drawers for hardware, you know, nails and screws and washers and picture hangers and anchors and all that kind of stuff. Where most of my stuff came from was, you know, either taking something apart in the house. We bought an old house. I kept a lot of the stuff, or you get extra parts, or you don't need them. You buy, you know, a certain kind of screw or a nail for a particular job, and you run down to 2 or 3. Don't throw them out. Keep them. Throw them in a drawer. Throw them in a jar. Throw them in a container. So you have them. It's nice to have them, like, even in a coffee can or some kind of plastic, because then you can take it to your job site, you know, wherever it is in your house or your garage or wherever, and then you can sort through it and find what you need, the exact one that you need. But just keep all that kind of stuff. Salt. Absolute must be. You should have a ton of salt. That's what I've got 5-gallon buckets full of. I've got 2 5-gallon buckets full of salt. I also have sugar, but salt is really important. It's a great preservative. It can be used for get rid of infections. I know a lot of people my age grew up with their mom giving them warm water and salt to gargle with, you know, because for a sore throat. Works wonders. You can take that salt also and do a heavier concentration and put it on a tooth, and most of the time it will kill the pain in your tooth, and nothing's worse than a toothache, and you can't get to a dentist to get it taken care of, or you don't have whatever the stuff is that I can't remember the name of it, that you just put on your tooth for that. Newspaper. All right. There are a ton of uses for newspaper. Growing up, all the newspaper that was out there, it had oil-based ink, okay, or petroleum-based ink. I think it's pretty much all soybean-based ink. But growing up, that's all we used for windows. We didn't use, like, you know, paper towels. I don't even use paper towels today. I use old t-shirts to wash windows with. But we used newspapers, because for some reason you got the shiniest, clearest windows using that newspaper and Windex or a vinegar mix that you know, my grandmother used to put together to clean windows. It was absolutely amazing. But newspaper is a really great insulator. All right, houses used to be insulated with newspaper. They would shred it up or do whatever, and they would stuff it in the walls. How many movies have you seen where the homeless person or whatever is, you know, got a bunch of newspapers around him stuffed in his shirt and jackets and stuff like that to keep warm? It's a good insulator. If you get stuck somewhere, you lose your heat or whatever, Um, you can stuff uh, newspaper in your clothes. I know it sounds crazy, but you'll do anything to stay warm. But here is another great reason to have newspaper. You lose power, and you're about to lose everything in your freezer. Wrap, as you pull stuff out of the freezer, wrap it in newspaper. Several pages of newspaper, wrap that frozen food in it, and pack it tight into a cooler. Always have at least, well, figure out how much freezer space you have and have enough coolers in your home or in your garage that you can put everything in your freezer into that before you can get it someplace else, and maybe to a neighbor's freezer, or a family member's freezer, or someplace, or you can get a generator going. um, if it's long term, newspaper is great. My dad, who lived in Illinois but he had a cottage in Michigan, all summer long he caught fish and froze it. Well, when he was going to bring it home at the end of the summer, when he came back before the snow flew, he would wrap every single container in newspaper. And when he got home, he'd unpack it, and there was no signs of any thawing whatsoever. It was a good, 6-hour trip. In the first couple of years, it was 9 hours before they built the highways up along the west shoreline of the lower peninsula of Michigan. But newspaper is great for that. Rubber bands. You can't have enough rubber bands. And I don't mean little rubber bands. I mean heavy duty, good rubber bands for keeping stuff together. And you want to have enough of them because we all know over time rubber bands degrade and they'll just pop. So you want to put a couple on whatever you're using. I like to keep, well, we'll go into something else. Okay, I talked about plastic sheeting before, ground cover, covering furniture. Get a good, thick mill quality, okay? At least 1 to 2 mils. Don't get like the .08. I use .08. We all do it when we paint. That's the plastic sheeting that goes over your over your table and dressers and around your chandeliers. When you're going to paint the ceiling, so you don't get a whole bunch of little spots all over it. Plastic bags, and I'm talking plastic bags from contractor grade plastic bags, plastic garbage bags, liners, all the way to then the grocery store that's by you. The plastic grocery bags. They're always nice to have around. They really work great. If you lose water and you need to make a temporary bathroom, a 5-gallon bucket and kitchen garbage bags work really well to take care of the waste and get rid of it. Contractor bags, obviously, if you have a cleanup situation, they're good to keep in your backpack for a secondary means of keeping dry. All right. Plastic bags are really good to have. Have a bunch of plastic bags available. All different sizes, all different weights, can be used for all different kind of things. That's page 1. Bleach. You can't have enough bleach. We've done several videos on water purification. Bleach is essential in water purification. We've done videos on first aid. Bleach can really be helpful in sanitizing things. Obviously, it's good for cleaning clothes, but it's good for a lot of other reasons. People ask me all the time, Rich, well, how long does bleach last? I called Clorox, talked to the people at Clorox, and they said it stays pretty good, 100% strength until you open it. Once you open it, the full strength is really only good for a month or two, and it starts going down. It has half-lives after that. So you want to keep plenty of that around. Stick pretty close. There's dates on it. You don't have to stick too close to those dates. The lady actually said, but don't go out more than a year from the date because it will start to lose its potency. And for cleaning clothes, it is no big deal. Okay, but as one of your tools in your toolbox, purifying water, it's really important. Okay, that's why I keep bleach way down on the list as far as water purification, unless especially unless you're doing like hundreds of gallons at a time, then it's a lot easier to do it that way. Um, Candy, always keep candy in the house because let's face it, it's just nice to have something a different taste, different flavor. I preferred hard candy. I'm not a big chocolate freak. Plus, hard candy is easier to keep. Just keep it in a cool, dry environment. Jolly Ranchers, green, probably my favorite. Maybe the watermelon, tied for, maybe they're tied for first. Those are my favorite. Styrofoam. Everybody that has bought anything recently from IKEA or from Ashley Furniture or wherever, there's styrofoam inside there. Keep the styrofoam. That styrofoam is great for, putting down on the ground if you have to, if you have to lay on the ground for anything. If you're working on a car, lay on the styrofoam so you're not getting in cold weather. The concrete is cold and it's just miserable. Styrofoam is just great. I've used it, insulating basement closets. I used it for all different kinds of things. Styrofoam is really good to have. If you aren't going to use it, find a recycling place and then recycle your styrofoam. But keep some of that stuff around, especially the really nice thick stuff is really nice to have. A how-to library. Let's see if I can do this real quick. A how-to library. This is part of my how-to library because I can't remember how to do everything. And I'm also not going to be around very long, so this will go off to somebody else, my son, my daughter, or whatever. I also have a backpack that has how-to stuff in it. And I grab that, and it's not because I'm going to bug out with it. It's because I know everything's in there. If I'm working on a project at my son's house, I take it there. If I'm working on a project at my daughter's apartment, I do that. In-laws, I do that. I take that backpack, goes with me because it has a little bit of everything. How to do everything in it. A how-to library is important. All right. Also, always have books and games that don't need electricity. Cards are nice to have. Games like Scrabble for adults and Yahtzee and stuff like that around. Because if the power goes out, and the power goes out for a long time, you don't have TV and you don't have radio maybe, you need some type of entertainment. You need something to keep the kids happy. If you're going to shelter in place for a long period of time, you're definitely going to want to have some type of entertainment. That's why, books to read for all ages, cards to play for all ages, games for all ages is really nice to have. I wouldn't say we hoarded games, but it really worked out nice being a grandparent now of a granddaughter who's about 3. We are playing the games that we originally purchased for our kids who are now 31 and 25. So I don't think it's hoarding. I think it's just saving, although some people would say that we hoarded a lot of games. Dad, why did you get rid of all these games? Now you know why. And it's funny when they come over and they want to borrow the games. I would probably believe that most of you have just about all the items on this list. And I bet that you can give me 2 or 3 more examples of why you have those things, more than what I gave you, for these different items that you should hoard and have in your house. And, if you think you have enough, get a little bit more so you have it. But you can go back and talk about newspaper for starting fires. You can talk about, tarps and heavy plastic sheeting for underneath your tent if you're going camping. It's just kind of stuff you're going to have around. That's why in some of our videos, our earlier videos for prepping, is you've got all this stuff at home. It's just not in one location. You just need to get it all in 1 or 2 locations. Please don't bring the white gas and the propane for your camping stoves inside your house unless you have no other choice. Keep them in some kind of a locker. where it's safe. Um, but have them in one or two locations. So if you lose one location, you have stuff in another location. Obviously, most all our stuff is in the basement. It's not directly on the floor. It's not anywhere where it gets too hot. It's not anywhere where it gets too cold. It's pest-free, bug-free, and dog-free, hopefully. But yeah, so these are the items that you should think about. You should definitely have stored somewhere. And your neighbors might call you a hoarder, but I'll never call you a hoarder because all this stuff is important. And tell them why you have it. And they might go, good idea. I get your point. So that's it for this video. I hope you thought of a few things that you don't have. Maybe we brought up a few things that you want to get. If there's some things that I forgot, let me know. Comment. If you liked the video, please comment and give me a thumbs up. If you didn't like the video, don't just go, tell me why. Tell me what else I can do. What else do you want to know about? And I will do a research because I don't know anything, but I love going down the rabbit hole on the internet. It's kind of fun to dig up stuff. So that's it. Subscribers, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. We are knocking on the door of 1,800 subscribers. It's fantastic. It's great. Heading the right direction. That's what I really love. And I'm having a blast doing these videos. It's really kind of fun to share stuff that my knowledge or stuff that I found out with you, and then you sharing back with me. So if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe, ring the bell. If for our new subscribers, as you can tell, I am not tech savvy. It's just going to be a very easy video. There's not going to be breaks. It's going to be one shot straight through. With very limited, I'm not going to point like this and a word's going to come up, or I'm going to point like this, a word's going to come up. I may point to, we've got, lots of ketchup, or I might point to, we've got lots of tomato stuff right there. See, I can't even get my finger right. But enjoy the ride with us. For those of you new, welcome aboard. And like we always end our videos, always be aware of your surroundings, no matter where you're at, work, home, play, on vacation, or just sitting in the backyard enjoying the sun, although it snowed today. But always keep at least 72 hours of food, water, and medicine available in case you have to leave your area because of bad weather, bad storms, civil unrest. You have that ready to go, grab and go. And please have 3, 6, 9 months to a year of food, water, medicine for you, your family, your pets, and anybody that may have to come to your house for whatever reason. Maybe you're the central location. Have food and stuff ready for them so they don't have to bring everything. But that's it. And prep like your life depends on it, because it really does. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it. Take care.